Hey guys, a little bit of an announcement for you. You may already know this if you're following us on Instagram or if you're signed up to our website mailing list, but we have just announced that we are having an alternative Christmas party. It's going to be amazing vibes and it'll be great for all of you that don't necessarily like going to a Christmas party or who always feel like you're on the clock because you know you're in HR. We're going to have a 2-course meal. There's going to be a quiz. There's going to be the usual giveaway, free drinks on entry. We have an amazing DJ and we are going to party until midnight. It's going to be amazing vibes. Tickets are out now and they are going very quickly. The link to buy tickets is in the description of wherever you're listening to this. Don't say we didn't tell you. Run, don't walk. We are busy working on that in the background, and so there is no new episode for you this week. But we have been into the archives and we've pulled out episode number 13. That's the episode where we spoke about how we got into HR. It's a highly requested episode, but we've done it already. So we thought, why not bring it back for those of you who haven't heard it? And for those of you who have heard it, you can meet us next week or you can listen again. And we will be back next week with the usual vibes.
Hi guys, it's Foy okay, but you can call me Foy.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa, and you can call me Vels if you want. And this is Everybody Hates HR Pod, episode 13.
Yay.
This episode is brought to you by Deal.
As HR professionals, we know that managing HR for a workforce comes with its challenges. Managing a global workforce, even more so. Using multiple tools for different countries and worker types complicates everything. Costs go up and efficiency goes down. You get the picture.
Deal is here to change that. That's DEEL. Whether you're an enterprise business, a small company, or anything between, Deal simplifies global team management, payroll, hiring, and more.
Deal HR streamlines your global operations with built-in compliance to lower costs and maximize efficiency. With self-serve onboarding, new hires can be up and running in just minutes.
Sign documents, track expenses, and approve PTO in seconds. Plus, with Deal, you can easily oversee global cost reviews, headcount, and more with centralized reporting.
Ready to see how Deal HR can transform your global operations for free? Head to deal.com to book a demo today. That's DEEL.com.
Lucky for some, unlucky, what's the thing? Unlucky for some?
13.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
lucky for some, unlucky, something like that, isn't it?
Something like
It'll
that.
be lucky for us, I hope.
Amen. So I guess today's episode's a bit different from what we usually do. But what we've decided to do is essentially kind of go back a little bit and reintroduce ourselves and just give like an oversight of who we are, what we do, how we got into HR, our journey so far, and hopefully if you've got any questions about it, we'll also be on the gram to answer them. Yeah, that's sort of the flow today, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like none of us had a completely traditional trajectory into HR. Is my understanding of.
I feel like maybe.
Do you think yours is just?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say so.
Probably. But it wasn't needed. That's the thing.
What do you mean?
I didn't need to do it.
What-
I didn't need
what
to
was
study
your-
at university.
I was thinking about your first, because were you like a HR?
coordinator.
Oh, yeah. So I feel that's quite traditional.
So does that mean, since you did it at uni, does that mean you knew from like quite young that you wanted to be in HR?
No, so I studied business and IT first. Imagine me, business and IT.
Wow.
But anyway, I done that. And after about a few months of being in the class, I was just like, this ain't it. Like, it's not it. But I think the first semester had gone, so I couldn't just change into a new course. So I had to finish that year and pass it to go into a new course. And then I was just thinking, what should I do? And I was like, I like working with people. I like interacting with people on a work level anyway. And I didn't want to do just business studies, administration. I feel like everyone done that, and no shade, but it's just like I didn't know what you could do after it. I kind of wanted to
be a bit more niche.
Yeah. Exactly. So then I saw HR, then I was looking at the modules and I was like, I'll give it a go. Then I done it first 2 years. My first year I didn't really care, I'm not gonna lie. The grades were probably like whatever. Second year was okay. pass. And then I done the sandwich course, and it was a sandwich course. I was like, nah, I can do this. Like, I enjoyed just being in a working environment.
What did you do for your placement? Yeah.
So I was at a aerospace engineering company in Birmingham for a year.
So did you live in Birmingham to do it?
I still lived in Coventry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went to Coventry University. I've heard it's not the same as what it was when I was there.
Not you trying to distance yourself.
I have to.
Trying to distance it. I know what it was like when I was at uni, so I'm sure it's the
I
same.
have to. But yeah, so I would just drive from Coventry to Solihull, which is just around the Birmingham area. I don't know, it's like half an hour. And yeah, I would just work, and I enjoyed it because I had like my own projects. I worked on the whole like apprenticeship program and revamping that, and it was nice. It felt good. So then I came back to my third year and I was like, pull these grades up, sis.
Yeah.
Grease up your elbows and put them in, and I did, and I got my first.
Oh, cute. I love that for you.
Yeah, and then I went into working like straight away. I think I finished uni, and then like a month later I was working
In
in
HR?
HR. Yeah,
Wow.
As a coordinator.
HR coordinator. That was my first role.
Do you think it's because of the sandwich course that you did that made it easier to get?
100%.
Yeah.
Because also, all other roles were roughly probably like 16k, 18k for HR administrator. My first role was 25k,
Okay.
which isn't bad
For the time.
your for 20.
Yeah.
It's because you had like a year of
16.
experience under your belt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it really, really helped because that it was just, you could, when you're interviewing, you can give examples already of things that you already know and that you feel a bit more comfortable. And I think I definitely think it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys enter the HR world? What did you guys study?
History.
Well, I know what Lola studied.
Study history.
American history.
Why did I think it was psychology?
Do you know what's so funny? Yeah, that my partner only found out like the other day that this is what I did. He was like, "What? You studied?" The exact same reaction he had as
Why
well.
it was psychology?
And why did I think that you went to uni to study something that was like more vocational? I don't know. I'm trying to package it well.
Do you know what's funny? People who know me, I had a bit of a thing for America, like when I was a bit younger, and I loved history in general.
So even after the history, you still like the country.
Well, that's a whole like different story. But in school and college, loved history. Like I did it as an A level. I did it as a GCSE. So I thought I might as well do it at uni. But I had no idea what I wanted to do with it because I was like, I don't want to be a librarian. You know, when you look at all the options, it's like I don't want to be a librarian. I don't want to be a teacher. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I just did it because I enjoyed it and I thought I'd get a good grade.
Sounds
I
like
wasn't
a lot of reading as well. And
yeah,
writing essays.
yeah. I wasn't thinking about like what it could do for me in the future.
Yeah.
The answer is nothing.
But look what you are now.
Yeah, but I just did it just because. So HR just came in a roundabout way when I was working at John Lewis, but I didn't really know what it was. Then I did a summer apprenticeship. Can I just say that it was for free? I worked Monday to Friday for free.
I've worked for free as well before.
What hours? 9 to 5?
9 to 5 in Russell Square at an accountancy firm, Monday to Friday for free.
That's good.
I worked at an accountancy firm for free as well when I was at uni.
Yeah, like it was HR, but it was for free. My friend that worked at John Lewis was like, "Do you want to go and do it?" Because I was telling her that I was interested in HR after all my disciplinaries, that I was the person. So I did it and I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. And then at this point, I'm still at uni, doing my disso and stuff about how Black American men are portrayed in the media. Anyways, but during that time, so I'm at uni, I'm at John Lewis on weekends, and then I'm also applying for HR roles because I'm about to leave uni. So I got one. It was part-time, 4 days a week, for a pharma company as a HR admin on a temp basis. So I was getting paid £9.
Oh, that was your
I
hourly.
was getting paid £9.50 an hour.
That's not even bad, you know.
Do you think so?
It's not bad. £9.50 an hour.
Do you know what? At
What
the
was
time,
minimum wage back then?
don't know. It was based on your age, wasn't it? Like £6, I think, something, or £7.
So then, in comparison,
Yeah, that's true. And I was getting paid weekly, which was nice.
Minimum wage now is only £8 something, or is it £9 now? But I mean, it's not.
It's dependent on your age, I think.
Versus, just a few years ago that you did it.
That's true. So I started doing that while doing my disso, while actually knew it's on the weekends.
That's crazy.
hustler.
Yeah, and that was my first role, and I stayed there for almost just under 4 years because they made me perm after 10 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's for you.
yeah.
But did you stay in that role for 4 years?
No. So I was HR admin, got made perm as HR admin, and then I got promoted to HR advisor. And at that time is when I did my CIPD at the same time because they paid for it. And then I left.
Love that.
I love that for you too.
No clawbacks, no? They didn't claw it back?
Of course they did. I was so annoyed by
They
it.
actually.
Yeah, they did.
actually do.
Yeah,
they
they
did.
a lot of companies say they will, like, if they pay for training, they'll make you pay it back, and then they don't follow through.
No, they follow through. I think I'm not going to lie, I think my director was a little bit like pissed that I was leaving when I was leaving. Yeah.
Happens.
It does happen.
I think,
Do you know, we should talk about, like, I'll speak up myself, but then we can talk about, like, working for free and
yeah.
whether it can, what the views are, popular and unpopular.
Yeah.
I feel like you're already...
I'm ready. Because I suffered for 19 years doing...
So now it makes sense of why you like to shake your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
In Dubai.
Exactly. But I was just going to say, I think you've had the least traditional route.
Yeah. So I studied accounting and finance. I used to think I was pretty academic. So I went to school in South London, Sacred Heart. Shout out UN. And then I went to my A levels. I did business studies, maths, and sociology.
Who does maths? Sorry,
Mate, do you know what I was gonna say? I literally
interrupt
flopped
you.
that A level because they did double maths on a Wednesday before the half day and on a Friday last thing. So my attendance was like 30%, and they told me that they were gonna kick me out. And I said I'm sorry, and then I got a D. And I got 2 A's and a D in my A levels. And I literally, when I got my grades, I didn't get into my uni. So I think I needed.
What was your uni?
Nottingham. I think I needed like A, B, B, and I ended up getting 2 A's and a D. And I literally sat on the floor and cried. And it was my mum who came and was just like, this is gonna sound so like snobby, but my assurance was Hertfordshire. And I didn't want to go, but not because of any other reason that my brother and my sister went there. My brother was still there. So I was like, I don't want to go to Hertfordshire. I was like, literally sitting on the floor. My mum was like, some people don't get to go to uni. Well, she basically said, pick your ass up and you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? So I can't remember what I was supposed to study. I think it was accounting and finance. And I ended up going to Kent through clearing.
UKC.
Yeah, UKC. Yeah.
I went Kent as well, yeah.
So I ended up going to Kent through clearing, and obviously I was happy because Kent is like an actual good uni.
Oh, I caught that shade.
I caught it as well.
Caught that shade. Whatever, we had fun.
Yeah, I came to Coventry to have fun as well. All those uni coach parties.
Good time.
Good times. But yeah, so I studied accounting and finance, and I don't know, like I'm the kind of person that don't learn, so like I wasn't really a revise kind of person. And in my first year, basically it happened at sixth form. That's how I got that grade, and I was like, I'm gonna be serious. And after my first year, I was not serious. And then by the time my second year came, I was like, I don't want to feel like what I felt before because I just didn't like it. So I worked really hard, and I was like on a 2-1. And then in my third year, I don't know what I did. I just pulled something mad out of the bag, and I ended up getting a first. But I legit didn't expect it. And then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna work in accounting and finance because you know, like my parents were like lawyer, doctor, accountant was like, you know, also acceptable. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'll probably do something like that. So I applied for like loads of graduate programs. In my second year, actually, I tried to get onto it like an internship. You know, you do the ones after your second year in the summer. I didn't get anything. And I ended up working at this accounting firm. It's like a very small accountants in Harlow in Essex that my dad knew the person, or my uncle knew the person. And they said that I could go. So I went 3 days a week, working 9 to 5 for free, processing payroll, doing just stuff for free. Yeah.
How long was that for?
And that was for like, I think I did it for like 10 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like literally the summer, right?
Yeah.
And then so I didn't get anything. But then in my third year, I was like again hustling. I did all the psychometric tests. Like I used to do the tests for my friends for like the graduate programs and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I should have hollered at you.
The math ones and stuff. I used to, like, so I did that. I got to like the final stage of like loads, and then I didn't get a load of those. So I ended up going on to the NHS graduate program. So I got onto that, and it's a good graduate program. They basically put you into regions, and London is the most sought after region. So you only really get it if you have like reasons that you can't relocate. So like if you have a family, if you have a mortgage, you have a caring responsibility. I didn't know enough to lie at the time. So I ended up in the southeast coast. I put Kent as my second option. I was working in Ashford for my first placement.
Yeah. When they say Kent, they mean
East Kent.
Yeah.
Not West Kent. No,
Kent.
Dartford.
Yeah.
I could have managed Dartford, Ashford, and then my second placement they wanted to put me back in Canterbury, and I was living in London, so I would like commute. I was like, it was a good program, but the trust that they put me in, it was restructuring, so no one had any time to teach me, and they all hated me because everyone's job was at risk. The only person whose job was not at risk was me. So everybody hated me because 2 trusts were merging, so there was 2 of every function.
Yeah.
It would interview. I was the only one who was going to be safe.
yeah.
And they literally hated me there. And my manager was like, the head of finance was awful. She was the one who used to call and be like, oh, I can hear you guys laughing. Does that mean you finished your work? Like, she was literally a dragon. Wow. So then anyway, I hated it. I was just like, I can't stay here. You're not teaching me anything. So then I applied to Deloitte, and I got into that. It was the only place that I just applied to something that was available, and I applied to like Global Employer Services. And I had applied the year before and I didn't get in. But I met this guy at the cash point one day randomly, and he was just like, oh, you seem... I had been drinking. I don't drink now, but I had been drinking at the time. I'm not very good with alcohol, and I accused him of taking my money from the cash. And he was like, I didn't take your money. And then he was like, open your purse. And I opened the purse, and the money was in the purse. And then we got to talking. He was like, oh, I work at Deloitte. I'm on a tax graduate program, and I just started. And I was like, oh, you have my job. And he was like, oh, you should apply again. You seem really smart. And I was like, you literally met me 2 minutes ago. But like, okay, I must be. So I applied. He said he would help me. He was like, I've got a girlfriend, so I'm not trying it. Cool. So I did my application. I got the job. He showed me around, introduced me to all his friends.
Oh, that's nice.
Shout out Christian, real one from
That's
Torquay
nice.
or something.
Sorry, I got a question because my thing was I didn't bother applying for any graduate roles because I felt like they were just too competitive. I can't imagine where it's like in finance. It must be mad. But in general, I was like,
always apply. I'll speak about it, but like I used to help like people. I had an anonymous blog when I worked at Deloitte, because when I got there was like no black people, and I had an anonymous blog, and I would send it to ACSs. So I like,
well, this is the point that I was just about to make, is that so with the 10-week thing you did, it was your dad knew somebody. So even though you've got the brain, your dad knew somebody which helped you there. And then this time, okay, you applied, you didn't get it, you applied again because you met someone at the cash point who could help you. So do you think, obviously it's possible to get a graduate scheme without that?
Yeah, and I think the thing about the guy at the cash point, he couldn't really help me in those sorts of processes. What he really did was give me confidence to try again. Like, so he encouraged me, because I met him, I was like, don't seem that smart, like no more smarter than I am. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just seem like it humanized the whole thing. So I was like, oh, he's a normal guy. Like, that's what
if he can do it, I can do it.
Gave me the confidence to try again, because I applied for Deloitte, PwC. I couldn't even apply to KPMG because I had 20 UCAS points short. And like, I applied to all of those places and I didn't get it. I got to the final stage, blah blah. It was just really disheartening. So it broke my confidence a little bit. So when I got the NHS program, which was really good, I just took it. And I would definitely say people should apply. We'll talk about routes into HR, but Deloitte was really good for me. I studied my tax qualification. Secretly, I did the ACCA as well, because when you fail exams at Deloitte, you can be fired. So I didn't want to fail my exams and then they know that I was doing something else and that I was splitting my time. So I did ACCA just because I thought tax was a bit boxy, and the part of tax that I worked in was reward. So it touches on HR, like compensation and benefits was what I specialised in. So it's really long, but it's just because it needs to make sense of how it fits together. And whilst I was there, I was leading, I was working in, actually I wasn't leading at the time, the multicultural network. So that's like the BAME network. And I was like helping with recruitment, talent initiatives and all of that stuff, but under the umbrella of like ethnic minority. And I just found myself like really interested in like more of the HR stuff. Like even when people would come and be like, our clients were like in HR, they were in tax, and they'll be like, oh, we need help on this, the calculation of this termination payment tax. And rather than just be like, okay, cool, ask the questions that I need, I would be asking like big questions like, oh, so how is this happening? What, just because I wanted the tea, like I wanted to know. And I just found it so much more interesting than what I was doing. And because we worked in compensation, all of our clients, we would get all their compensation data every year. Like to do the PSA, to do P11Ds and stuff like that. And I would look at what the people in HR got paid, and I'll just think, I can do this. And the money it was money in. So I was just like, I didn't know that HR people could get. I thought you had to be in finance. Yeah. So like I'll be speaking to like even
people
like people
still don't believe that.
Yeah,
People
but even back then,
Yeah.
I'll be thinking, some of my stakeholders, you have like the heads of tax, the heads of HR, but then you also have like the HR admin or the HR coordinator, the HR advisor. And I'm like, so you get paid what I get paid. And I know you're asking me the questions. Do you get what I mean? Like you have all the support, you have all this budget for advisors, and your job is not that hard, but you're getting paid like coins. And so that's when I was kind of like, maybe this could work. And then I got the opportunity to go on secondment while I was at Deloitte. I went to Thomas Cook for like less than a year, but I got to work between the HR and the tax team. And then when I came back after my secondment, I was literally on site with Thomas Cook, and I got to go into destination. I had to shadow holiday reps because they thought they were doing some like taking kickbacks and stuff, and I was the youngest person in the team, and they thought I was the only one who would be able to assimilate. So they was like, oh, you'll blend in, yeah, which I did. I had a great time with holiday reps. And when I went back to Deloitte, I was just like, I just spoke to the partner in the team. I was like, look, I can't do this. Like, I've had too much fun. Like, I've enjoyed doing that. I can't come back to coming to do tax computations. Like, it's just not, it's not enough for me.
Yeah.
So then I set out trying to get a job in HR. So that's what I did. I got lots of opportunities for reward work. So, but within the HR team, and I was like, I don't want to just specialize in compensation. Like, I want to do a generalist role. And then recruiters have bad reputations sometimes. Some of them are great and some of them are terrible. But there were some really bad recruiters that I dealt with who basically like, they wanted to break me down so that I would take their reward roles, and they would be like, you're not going to get that kind of role. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. They only take you for this role. Like HR roles, there's people that have HR experience. Like, why would they take you? All of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just kept applying, and I got a job directly. I mean, I don't mind sharing numbers. When I left Deloitte, historic numbers. When I was at Deloitte, I was a manager, so I was on like 60k, and then I just made manager like in the year before, and the job that I ended up taking, I applied to it at 35k, and then I got it, and then I negotiated 40k, and I was comfortable with that because I know that I can work. I got a big promotion at Deloitte to manager, but I know that I can live for less. I moved back in with my mum, like I did all that kind of stuff just to make that work, and I knew I still wanted to buy. And I just thought, okay, I'll extend these timelines because ultimately I know people in HR can make money. I just need to get a certain type of experience. So I went to do that, and then I got the experience that I needed just to have HR manager on my, they never had anyone in HR before. It was the first role. So I basically got to go in and like do a bunch of stuff. And I was there for 9 months before I was like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to like dip for various reasons. And then I got another job after that at a consulting firm, similar to Deloitte, where my money was basically almost the same as it would have been if I never left. So that was kind of my route. And then since then I've done various roles in HR. I've moved quite quickly, like have head of HR roles and that sort of thing. And now I do like HR consulting. So I do like gigs, essentially like short-term contracts in HR.
Ooh, girl.
Sorry, but it's a very long story just because a lot of time it doesn't, when I talk, people are like, how did that happen? How did this happen? But yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, that 60k to 40k.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would do that.
No,
I wouldn't do it.
I don't know if I could.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Do you know what? Yeah, like when we talk about routes into things, I get a lot of approaches. I don't know if you guys do, like people wanting to get into HR, and because I'm a career changer, like it just depends on your circumstances. Some people can, some people can't. You can literally make money doing anything. If the three of us decided to come together today and say we want to start a street cleaning business, we all make bank because we can. Do you know what I mean? Like we'll make it work. We'll do, Foya will focus on the aesthetics. She'll do the marketing. I might do the maths. You might do the we'll do it. Do you get what I mean? Like you can, if you're like, my main thing is just to be excellent at what I do. And I'm like, if you're excellent and also obviously you need to play the game, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And like I think it's the Nigerian in me. You know, my mum or my parents always like, oh, the other person doesn't have two heads. I feel like no, it's true. Like that's my without we all have the same 24 hours, but my mentality just try and be great at what I do, and it wasn't easy. Like I did CIPD. I finished my level 5 in 7 months. I basically did 2 modules at a time, so I was there from on a Tuesday, on a Thursday evening every day for 7 to 8 months. I was in class. I was writing 2 essays at a time. I had some family stuff going on at the time as well, so I was had some caring responsibilities, and it was the ghetto. But the role I was doing, because it was the very first HR role, they didn't even really know what they needed. It wasn't that taxing, so I took the opportunity to really stretch my time, if you know what I mean, and I got them to pay for my CIPD. So it was just. It was definitely worth it for me, if you know what I mean, especially in the long term. But sometimes when you're thinking about making a career change, you need to think, okay, do you want to do it quickly, or do you want to what are you trying to maintain? Because if you want to do it quickly, money is something that you can easily compromise on. And if you want to prioritize money, you might be because you have a mortgage and you can do it more slowly. So I could have, for instance, gone into reward and then taken a more generalist role from there in the same business and done it incrementally. But I'm quite impatient, so I was like, okay, let me just go like that, because I can afford to sacrifice the money, because I have the privilege of being able to go back home.
I think because you're also very young, I feel like obviously if you was to tell someone who's maybe, I don't know, mid-40s, to have a career change, it wouldn't, I don't think it would be as that, if that makes sense. You'd have gradual, to plan it out. Not that it's not possible, but you would have there's a lot of other mitigating circumstances.
It just depends on your personal circumstance. I have a friend, actually, she's a blogger. That's what she was doing kind of full time before. She does her name is Mary's Curly Closet, and she's 40 now. I mean, she's quite open about her age and everything. And she, in the last couple of years, or I think she might be a little bit older now, but in the last couple of years, she transitioned into becoming a software engineer. And she did the same thing. She went into a coding boot camp. She was like, I'm not going to focus on the money. What I'm going to focus, and obviously it's different for her because she gets income from making content, which she can kind of still do at the same time. But she's a bit older, and she was just like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this. I'm not gonna prioritize the money. But again, she had a support system which enabled her to do that. Yeah. But yeah, it just depends on your personal circumstances. Yeah. You could literally go. I could have gone and said I'll go and be a HR admin, but I wasn't gonna work for 25k. Do you get what I mean? And how well you can leverage what you did. And because I did ACCA, that really helped me, actually, because there's just something about the qualification. When you have it, people just think, oh, that's really interesting. If you haven't done it, you feel like it's hard. So that helped as well. Cool. So what do you think about working for free? To get experience, if you're trying to get into a certain area?
I don't want to sound like a baby boomer, because I'm not. But I do think if you have an opportunity and you can take it and it's for free and you know it's going to help you, I think you should. Because just doing what I did for free in terms of that HR summer apprenticeship, I decided whether I liked HR or not. So, okay, I'm not being paid. They did pay for my travel and stuff, to get to work and things like that. They usually do. Yeah. But I decided I do like HR based on what I saw, the work environment, is this for me? Is an office type environment for me? Because you learn all that stuff about playing the game really early when you're in the first time you're snaked, you remember it. You do.
The first time someone takes credit for your work.
Literally, you remember it. The first time someone speaks over you remember all of those things. True. So I think you don't have to do it for free, because obviously you can get a job and do it. But if it's there and you can do it, I was working at John Lewis on weekends. I was young. I was 22, 23. So I was at home. I could do it, like you said, circumstances. But I would say if you can, do it. If you can make money doing it, do it.
Yeah, of course.
What I would just add, actually, from that I left out of my own situation, is when I was moving into HR, when I got this first job as a HR manager,
because it was a little bit slower than I expected it to be, I actually started volunteering. So actually legally, you can't work for free in it. Like, unless the only time you can work for free legally is if you're working for a charity. Otherwise, they should be paying you minimum wage. But me myself, like if I get the opportunity, I'll go. But there's a platform called Reach Volunteering. I'll promote it all the time. It's all it does is connect you with charities. So it's like, imagine like a job board, but it's all volunteering opportunities. So I used to go on there and I'll find companies that were looking for people to volunteer, and I would be their volunteer HR manager.
Okay.
And you can put that on your CV. So for people who like, I wanted to make that kind of move into HR, there's so many HR opportunities on there.
Yeah.
If you have a job, and a lot of them, because you're volunteering, they are aware of that. You can do it asynchronously. So even if you're working full time, if you can give them 4 hours on a Saturday, they'll take it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did as well. It helped me to build up my experience, and like in areas that what my job wasn't covering. Would you work for free?
I'm just trying to think if I have, and I don't think I have. Not to say that I wouldn't, but I don't think I've.
What do you get paid on your placement year? Because there's some special years around. Like, I mean, there's some special rules around the minimum wage for placement years.
I got paid like 16k.
Okay.
Which was great because I was in uni, and what's so funny is I still had my part-time job whilst I was doing it, because I worked throughout the whole of uni, and I still kept it and just done night shifts.
The work ethic,
Unshakable
work ethic.
Night
It
shift.
is night shift.
Yeah,
What's
as a
your part-time
receptionist. Yeah, in a hotel.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see you as receptionist. And just the politeness, the people wanting to speak to you.
Wow.
I love that.
Thanks. But yeah, so I did that, and they paid me 16k. But to be honest, I probably would have done it. I wouldn't have done it for free. Not for a year. Not for a year. I wouldn't have done it for free for a year. But I would have done it if it was like a summer and there wasn't any payment and it was home. I wouldn't if it was going to put me out of my way, I wouldn't have done it. But I definitely do encourage like volunteering and things like that, because it really does help. Because like I said, when I came out of uni, I believe that I was able to get a job so quickly because of the sandwich course, not because of my actual degree or what I got. I think it was the experience. And even now, like my brother's going to uni, and I'm just like, make sure you do like a sandwich course, or when you come back down, we'll try and get summer placements and stuff, because I think it's the experience that really helps. So I would definitely encourage, if it's paid, amazing, but if it's not, don't knock it. And it's all short term.
And I think short term as well, like that's the main thing. And I also feel like you need to think about, because there are companies that will exploit people if you say you want to work for free.
Yeah.
Like I think it's different having a role that a company needs to fill and trying to fill it with free resource versus you approaching a company that has no need for you. Do you know what I mean? Like you guys are doing fine. You don't need me, but if I can be of assistance, like let me help you to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I think that sits a bit better with me than a company should be paying a HR admin wanting you to do
the
it.
role. Yeah, exactly.
But Taylor, who was on last week, she said that she's done a lot of she mentioned on the pod that she has done a lot of free work just so she can get access and exposure to certain technologies for her cloud and AI stuff. And I completely get that as well. Like if there's something new that's happening, or if there's something that you really want to experience in, then like for me right now, I've said, funnily enough, from all the conversations we've had, for like for my next contract, I am happy to take a lower rate for the public sector, because I feel like what I need, because I've done a little bit of tech, I've done a little bit of a few things, but I feel like sometimes I see some contracts in the public sector and you need to have experience in the public sector, or certain experience doing like big chubby projects, and sometimes the money is really nice but I don't have the experience. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go in at a more junior level and for a lower day rate or fixed term contract or whatever, just so I can put it on my CV, so that next time an opportunity comes up I can be in a position to apply for it. But even now in my current situation, I'm still very open to taking less money on the short term to make more money in the future.
Yeah, I get that. I was gonna ask, I'll ask you both, when you got into HR, so when you got into the first role, you're like, this is what I want to do. What was your trajectory? So like, for example, when I got into HR and I got into my HR coordinator role, I was thinking, how far can I go into this, and what do I want to sort of specialize in? So when I first went into HR, all I was thinking about was rewards. That's all I wanted to do, because that's what I enjoyed doing.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I enjoyed doing at uni, and that's what I enjoyed doing when I was on my placement. But then I quickly learned, in the real world, I hated it. Like, it wasn't fun. Like, reward to
the ghetto.
me, yeah, reward to me felt like fun. Like, hey, like, you know, how can we get people like, I don't know, perk box? Like, it's so stupid. I was like, all of that kind of stuff, and extra holidays and da. But when you actually look at like a total comp, like spreadsheet, it's not the same. No. It doesn't look the same.
You're thinking about like that kind of American consulting, like, how do we make people feel valued?
Yeah. And I was up for that, but I wasn't up for the actual proposals, and I was like, hell to the no.
Working with Willis Towers Watson to figure out whether someone should be paid 5p or 6p.
I was like, hell to the no. And so I quickly realized I don't want to do it. And then my next role after that was a business partner coordinator, which very much niched me into a business partner and being more strategic. So I was very much around that for a year.
Really early, you know.
Yeah,
a lot of people like, you kind of go HR advisor, HR manager before you start learning the business partner thing.
Yeah, like I was thrown in, because I was a HR coordinator for a year, and then I was like, next. And that's another thing that I'll say is, until I got comfortable in the role, I never stayed at a place for more than a year, because I felt like I would get comfortable, or if there was no progression, I would leave after a year, especially in the early years, because I felt like an administrator, coordinator, there's only so much you can learn. And if you haven't learned it in a year, personally, then I don't think, do you know what I mean? I feel like you can learn anything you need to learn at that level within a year.
I actually think, unless you're going to be progressing, so if you start as an admin or an assistant, and then you're moving to like a coordinator, advisor, or whatever, if there's progression, cool.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely think that sort of HR admin level, if you stay there for too long, like, it actually can look sort of bad on your CV. So like for me, I do I speak about my own business, like I do like contract work, but I also do recruitment for HR and like talent people. So like I recruit, if a company needs a HR admin, I can help them do that. But like when I'm looking for like a HR admin, I see like someone who, if you've been a HR admin in one place for 1 year, that's cool, because actually you can get a HR admin at 22k and this could be a HR admin at 29k. So I can see why you want to do that. But when you've done 3 HR admin roles and you're applying again for a HR admin role, I just feel like, are you lacking ambition, or what is it? And then again, when you go to someone, even for advisor levels, and you're like, okay, you've been a HR admin for 5 years now, you're going for it. Like, why have you been a HR admin for 5 years? Is it, you're not like, it just took you longer to learn things, or your company isn't doing anything about your career and you're not being proactive about it? Like, it sometimes just puts doubts in your mind as to why has someone been an admin for so long.
Yeah, I think sorry, there's a lot going through my head as both of you are talking. So just to go back to you, Foy, when you were saying you were interested in rewards and you thought it was like all cute stuff, and then you got there and you realized it was all data. Yeah. I think that's really important, because when you do start in HR, you do kind of have those rose tinted glasses of, I love people. I want, you have accrued this 6.5 annual leave. And you're literally in that help space, because that's essentially your job when you start as a admin or coordinator or whatever it is. And then it's not until you start to progress in HR that you realize how ghetto it is behind the scenes. So I think that's really important to highlight. And then the thing you said, Lola, about staying in admin too long, like, I agree. No one should stay in the same role for too long. But do you know what I've realised? Because I worked with somebody like this. When you work for a smaller company, they try to... they will sometimes try and give one person different roles. So we had a HR admin in my first job, but they were also PA to the owners of the company. So you get some people, and some jobs do look for that. Like, we just want a steady admin. We don't want someone who wants to progress.
Yeah,
we don't. Steady Eddie.
Yeah.
You want a steady Eddie.
You get a mixture, but I feel like a a majority of the people that would listen to this podcast are people that want to progress and stuff. So you shouldn't stay in there. Admin role
And
too long.
to be fair, there's nothing wrong with wanting to like some people are like that. They're steady, at least they get into a job, they're happy to be there, like a lifer. But being a lifer in a HR admin role will be the ghetto.
Ooh.
You're better off getting into getting into a very specific role, maybe like a standalone or with a small team where you have a lot of variety. And the other thing which is funny about I mentioned it about you can have a HR admin at 20k or 29k. HR is so like, we want to pretend like it's so standardized, but when it comes to job titles,
oh my God,
it's a mess.
is nothing. I have seen HR admin roles for financial services businesses at 60k.
Same.
And
No,
I'm just
same.
like, and I was a HR manager, and that first job, they were advertising a HR manager at 35k. Obviously, I was like just looking for something, so I was open, and even though it ended up in 40k, but 40k is like advisor money. So you can have HR business partners. Charities love to do this, and you guys need to stop. Yeah, you can have a HR business partner, and they'll be like 30k. What the hell is that?
There's no
Can you
HR business
imagine?
partner on 30k.
And actually, the thing is, sometimes even the job description will be business partner in. So they're just going to pay you like an admin. But like, stop.
I literally just go next.
Yeah.
That honestly. But what I like about them is even though they pay less, they always put it on the job description. So you know at the beginning.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
shouldn't
You
waste
know
your
you're
time.
getting yourself in for.
You shouldn't waste your time. But when it comes to like looking for jobs and even trying to progress, it can be a bit of a minefield in HR because you can see a job description which is exactly the same as yours. You're on 40k. You're thinking, okay, you know, maybe it's a little bit more senior. You're thinking, okay, this might get me 45 or 50, and then you interview and they're telling you it's 35k, and you're like, what? Like, how is that possible?
That's true.
That makes sense.
I feel like times have changed though, because I don't know. I'll ask both of you, like, when I know Lola's answer, but she can still answer.
Wait, I don't even know the question, but I like that you know it.
When you got into HR,
Yeah.
was money a thing in terms of, like, did you know how much money was really in HR? Because for me, once I decided I wanted to be in HR, I didn't really
Deep it.
No, I didn't really think there was that much. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think there was that much money in it.
Yeah.
It's only as time has gone on that I thought, okay, maybe there is. Because even in my first job, you know, you're just exposed to everybody's salary in the whole business. Yeah, I was thinking, wow, this man that's walking around in jeans and shoes is on 100 and something.
Do you know my toxic trait, and I did it. And the thing is, I did it when I worked in finance for that first role. I had access to the payroll information, and my toxic trait that I've had since my very first job is when people annoy me, I check how much they get paid. When people annoy me, I need to check how much you get paid. I need to know, okay,
Is it worth?
I need to know, like, should you know better? Do you know what I mean? Because if you're doing it and you're like, you know, you're a junior person in the team, but I can forgive you. When you come and trying to push your work on me and you're earning 150, no, I'm not doing it. See, that's when you get your pushback.
No one
you
had
earn your
to annoy me. As in, hi, what's your name?
Oh my god, you need to put that on TikTok. I can imagine you know that TikTok of the person bashing the keys. Velisa figuring it out.
I trust you, Velisa. No, but I think when I number one, I didn't know how much you can earn. I kind of just went into it a bit closed-minded. I even had certain family members that were just like, admin.
Yeah,
You're going
mom
to
said that.
uni to study admin.
Mom said
okay,
that.
we'll see. And now they're like, oh, really?
You know that
Wow. Yeah, exactly. But no, I really didn't know. And it wasn't until I got into a couple roles and I was like very close to some of like the business partners and things like that, or jobs would go out, like, you know, if someone left and then it'd be re-advertised and you see the salary and I'm like,
Oh,
what? And I'm like, huh? Honestly, that was the day when I actually went into those certain roles. So I would Google like HR business partner and what it entails and like how much experience you needed. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And I think that's when I started being more strategic about where I want to go and started to like pave a path as to where I want my career to go. So I definitely went with the whole, I want to be a business partner. That was it. I didn't really see head of HR or HR director. It wasn't really, I hadn't seen those salaries yet. So I'm just like, business partner, this is good.
it's the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was seeing that, I'm like, okay, I'm in a business partner coordinator role, which is great because that's going to help. So I'm exposed to lots of ER, and it was not for profit. So the ER was just churning out like this. Yeah. And then you learn loads of processes. You do a lot of note taking. So you're sitting down, present, and it really, really helped. And then after a year and a bit, I was like, next, like, let me start using all of these resources and like bettering myself. And I went from that to a HR advisor. And then, just slowly works my way up. But I would definitely say after the first role or two, I definitely started mapping out. I knew what I wanted, and I was like, I'm going for it. And even in interviews, they'd ask, oh, so, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I would just be like, as far as I can go. I said, there's no ceiling. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. So, that's it.
So, I mean, I said it before. So I obviously knew like you could make good money, but I didn't actually have a direction. Or like, because all I was thinking, I just want to get into HR.
Yeah.
I couldn't even think further than that, because even though I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I can do this. In the back of my mind, I was getting rejection after rejection after rejection, and not like after interview, like from application. And I get it, because it needed a special type of company to be able to see the transfer.
Yeah.
And it could only probably have been the kind of company, and the managing director had previously worked for a competitor of Deloitte. So when he saw my CV, he thought, they must be all right. So do you know what I mean? It needed a lot of things to align.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily have the luxury of thinking, okay, let me map out my career. I was like, let me just get in here.
Yeah.
Then once I'm in here, then I can start thinking. And I remember when I was at that company, all these recruitment companies, they try and pitch. It was Hayes that came, and they was like, oh, can we drop off our salary survey, our salary guide. So I remember I went through that. The salary guide wasn't that relevant for what we were doing, because a lot of our roles were quite niche in the business, but HR was in there. And I remember going through the Hayes salary guide, and it was like London, and it was given like, the different levels, and I was thinking, what? And for like my role, I think it said something like 45 to 55 or something, and I was on 40. So I was already thinking, I'm already being underpaid, but I was fine. I was fine at the time, because I was like, okay, I'm here, And it was probably then that I started thinking, okay. But even then, I didn't have like a view of like where I wanted to go, because I went from one HR manager at 40 to another HR manager at like 55.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so that's a big range for HR manager. And I was, to be honest, I was happy there. Like I've never wanted, I think at a point, maybe when I was at Deloitte, I thought I want to be rich. I think one time I was like, I want to make 100k before I'm 30 or something. I didn't. But once I got into that HR role, because I was quite happy, I never really wanted, like, money it wasn't actually my primary motivator. It's not, even now, it's not my primary motivator. Like, I just want to like what I do. I want to have good work-life balance. Yeah. So I never had like a trajectory. Even when I got approached to my first head of HR role, I was so nervous. And it was only because I was kind of having some difficulties where I was in terms of the work that I was doing that I even entertained it. But I didn't even think that head of HR was even attainable for where I was at the time. I didn't even have the like, obviously head of HR for a 10,000 person business is different to head of HR for a 200 person business or whatever that I was going to be head of HR in. And so I didn't even feel confident. But like, again, my mum in the back of my head telling me that no one has two heads. I just thought I'd go for it. But I kind of just fell from place to place to place. I was kind of like, knew what I wanted to do. And then at the next step, every time at the next step. But I've never known, even now, I don't know what I want to do 2 steps ahead. Just what I want to do now.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, I think I'm like you, Lola. I think I'm on vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Like I still don't really know like what I'm doing.
I think that's fine.
That's okay though.
I think like even ER, like I fell into ER. It wasn't. I didn't think, oh yeah, ER is where I want to like specialize. I was happy just being a generalist. And then when I went to the recruitment company, so that's where I went after my first HR role. To become a London HR advisor. So it was a sidestep on paper, but it was bigger because I was looking after 3 London sites of recruiters. Hell. And it was really a baptism of fire in terms of like how I had to deal with everyone, like the training, the ER. It was just mad. Like just dealing with that many nuisances. It was honestly, because that's what it was. They were just people that were just...
Sales environments can be so tough.
Oh my God, they're so hard.
Because a lot of the time it's like they prioritize selling above everything.
Everything.
And so sometimes there's really bad behavior. So like recruiters, estate agents, even like people that sell SaaS products, you know, they like...
The ethics and the morals.
Yeah, sometimes they're like, if you sell, you can get,
bit,
they feel like you can get away with everything.
Yeah. And that's why I left, because the morals didn't align with mine. Like every time I would go to the HR director about certain things that were happening, I get it, because she was like the only woman on the senior leadership team, so she's trying to keep them happy. And sometimes when one of their like biggest salespeople were doing the maddest things, it would just get brushed under the carpet, and I was like, I can't keep working somewhere like this. So I was only there 10 months. But honestly, as I'm moving, I'm not really thinking that I'm trying to like get to the next level. Or I'm not even thinking about money. So even that job, it was 37k, but I'm not thinking, oh, you know, like, and then I went to the school, did 8 weeks to 12 weeks.
We know what happened there.
Yeah, as a HR manager. But even then, I'm not thinking, oh yeah, I wanted to be a HR manager. But then at that point is when I got the job in tech. And I think tech has changed my mind in terms of money and benefits. But
so
it hasn't.
You go into that sector?
Tech. But it doesn't mean that I know where I'm going, if that makes sense. I just know that I'm never leaving tech. That's all I know.
I'll go where the money resides.
Yeah.
And I'll go where I can get new experiences, right?
Because
my goal right now is actually not to progress like, you know, in the traditional way. I want to be able to make money and have good work-life balance. Yeah. And be able to choose when I work and stuff like that. Not to say that I'll never go into permanent employment again, but again, like, from an industry perspective, like I've just recently in this year have had like my first experiences in tech, and like even the client that I'm working with now, when I go into their office, it's like the, you know, the stereotypical tech, you know, they've got food everywhere, like the office is open plan, like it just looks like a tech space, and it does do something for how you feel.
Agreed.
But yeah, like I'm so open, like, and I feel like when you're, especially for anyone listening to this who's earlier in their journey, and even just a bit younger, it's like there's this narrative that you have to know what you want to do. You have to be driven to go towards it. Listen, it's not off the cards that I go into marketing, because that's actually something that I would love to do. Like even if I do a ship, I go into employer brand and then I move into marketing or something.
That's true, you know.
You can do
like I've thought about it, and I like one of the other things I like doing is I like SharePoint. I put a post on LinkedIn.
You like SharePoint?
And I love SharePoint. I feel like it just has so much functionality. Like Microsoft, they should put me on the payroll. No, but I do like it, and I like building SharePoint sites. And I've actually
what, Lola?
What's going on?
I've never heard someone talk about SharePoint.
because like no one knows how to use it, and it's so frustrating.
It's horrible. That's why
I use it as like a file depository, and that's not what it is. It has functionality. I like building SharePoint sites which enable people to actually work better together. Yeah, and I've been looking at like what I could do in SharePoint.
Why?
Because I like it. I enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? So like there was a role which was a SharePoint content person. And basically you just put all the content onto SharePoint and you make it engaging. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do now, but there's nothing to say that I can do that. And there's something called a SharePoint developer. So it's a dev, but specifically in SharePoint. I don't know how to code, but genuinely in the last... people are going to think that I'm mad, but genuinely in the last like 6 months, I've literally been thinking I might just start... I've got time in it. Like I might just start retraining as a SharePoint dev, because you guys are laughing, but when the £1,000 day rate comes to me, you guys will be asking how to...
I hear it. Go get it.
I think when I saw it's the SharePoint dev, £1,000 per day. Oh yeah, come and get me. Take me now.
No, I hear
that. I hear that. That's how I feel. Sometimes I'm like, oh, do I want to go into HR systems? Because I'm like,
because it's
really
a niche.
Cool.
Even Workday,
the day rate,
are mad.
Uses Workday, and I've
day rates.
I've only ever used Workday like briefly, but again, we're talking about working for free. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing is approaching a company, because I know a couple of companies that use Workday, and asking if I can do some free work as a Workday systems person, because as soon as I get that Workday
certificate,
that certification, the day rate should come and find me.
I've seen the day rates for Workday.
Yeah, it's mad.
Like reading stuff, £800, £900 a day. HR.
That's what I'm
People
saying.
say it's not possible.
Yeah.
So if I can get that on my CV, I will work for free. I can. There's other money. I will work.
It's true.
If I do a
true.
couple months working for free, and then I go and get £900 per day. Listen, if you guys see me on this pod, you'll be lucky.
Do you know one thing that I was gonna add is that I feel like people also shouldn't be afraid to fail. I feel like there's this stigma that's attached to like, oh, when you do something, you have to do it, and if it doesn't work out, it's like embarrassing or it's shameful or whatever. And I would say that when I left my role of about 3 or 4 years and I went into my first business partnering role, I went in with so much passion, so much enthusiasm, and it just didn't work out because of the culture and the environment that I had. It just wasn't sustainable for me. It was toxic basically. And then I left it just feeling like a failure. I left thinking I've left a really good job. I didn't really need to leave, but it's because I was looking for this progression. Why did I do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then after that, I think it took me like 3 or 4 weeks to get back into work again. And once I got back into work, build that confidence up and things like that. But now I'm not afraid to leave. I'm not afraid to move.
Definitely.
I'm not afraid to like diversify. I'm not even afraid to just take a step back and chill for a second, because I feel like there's nothing wrong in doing that. I feel like at the moment, especially with the younger generation, it's like climb that ladder, like climb. And the reality is not everyone is climbing. Like you're seeing stuff on the internet, but that's not the reality for a lot of people.
It's not at all.
And I feel like those people should be okay, that you're not any less and there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely normal.
And even when we talk about career development, people think it's like one step up, 2 steps up. 2 steps up. But actually most people's careers, even if you look at the most successful people, they have done 1 step up, 1 step sideways, 1 step up, 1 step to the left.
It's true.
Even back.
Sometimes 2 steps back.
True.
Like
And
to
it's
go
okay.
forward. And it's fine
It's
because
fine.
you have to be looking at the long-term picture. And also don't let the world like pressure you into thinking that you always need to be getting more and more and more money. The last job that I had, like permanent job that I had, I was head of HR for a recruitment business. And I legit said that if I never have another promotion again, I'll be fine. Because I was like, if I had continued to enjoy the work and whatever, because financially, I don't believe like that you need a certain, I think over a certain amount of money, a lot of people can be comfortable, especially if you're in a relationship and there's 2 of you.
What's that
like,
certain amount of money, Lola?
I mean, I would say, honestly, like for me, I think that I could earn 50k and I have a partner that earned 50k and 2 of us could live a very good life together. Like, it wouldn't be a life where you don't want for anything. I'm looking at you because I don't know how you feel. I don't know what your views are. but like, I obviously earn more than that. But the point I'm making is like, if I had to, like, I don't live a life right now, which, because I'm contracting, so obviously I make very good money, but I'm very also hyper aware that the money could be there today and be gone tomorrow. Like if we hit a recession and there's no day rate and there's no whatever, I would take a job for 50k and I won't feel no way about it. I won't feel like a failure. I won't feel nothing. I would take it, like I've done it. Like I will take steps back because like I'm thinking about the longer term. And all of
even
that
to
stuff.
say you're taking a step back to 50k, like
Does that even sound like
No, but I'm saying I could take a step back to less than that is what I'm saying. Like it's just, I think I'm talking about a good life. Like London is sometimes a bit rubbish in it, but I think 2 people on 50k each in London can have a good life, not a life where they're managing. Do you know what I mean? That's like you're a 100k household, and it's actually better. Like you actually you'll take home more money than if you were a 1 person 100k. Do you know what I mean? 2 people at 50k because of how tax works.
That's true.
It's better than 1 person at 100k.
Yeah.
So you actually take home a decent amount of money. You'll be able to buy a nice house. You can live. You know what I mean? You can go on holidays. You'll still be able. You can have kids. You can do all of that kind of stuff in London. Outside of London, it's even less. So that's why I'm like, if you, let's say I got to a place where I'm like, okay, I earn this amount of money, it's comfy. I could take another step further, but that next step further is going to erode my happiness and my work. Like, I'm not going to take it.
No, I get that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you just know what your own priorities are and don't make people make you feel like you should be doing more or do you know what I mean? If that's not what your story is.
It's not. It's true. And I also think
no, wait before moving on, you asked me the question now, what's the money,
I don't have a number. Do you know what? If I'm being honest, I don't have a number, but I do know the stage that I'm at now. I call it my hustling phase. I don't think I'm at the stage where I'm just ready to just chill back and just be like, I'm comfortable here. Because whilst I utilize things now, like not having kids and still being at home and stuff like that. So I'm trying to capitalize on that as much as possible, because I know that there will be a time where that could happen, and I want to be in a position where it's okay, like, and it's not going to be pressuring to take like a lesser role or things like that. So at the moment, I'm hustling.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I would say... No, okay. Do you know what? I will say 60-ish each. And the reason I say that is because when I found out I was pregnant, I was on 63K, I think. I was on around that, and I felt very at peace. And that's just me. That's not including my partner. So I felt very at peace that, okay...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel flustered, like, oh my God, how am I going to provide for this baby? I wasn't taking into account nursery fees and everything. But I wasn't flustered, and I feel like that's a sign of like comfortability of, okay, we can look after a baby as well as like we can still go and eat out. We can still, do you know what I mean?
It's lifestyle.
Yeah, it's more lifestyle in terms of comfortability. But the other point that I was going to make is I feel like as well why people shouldn't focus on money too much. I get why, but you shouldn't focus on it too much, because I feel like the higher up you go, it's never going to look enough to you. Yeah. Like in my eyes, like why would 60K starts looking small to me? Yeah. But genuinely it's not. True, but because of like a trajectory that I've seen now, when I see 60K, I'm like, it's okay, but it's more than okay.
Yeah, I said it before. Like most people will never see that money in their lifetime, and that's not because that's because it is a lot of money. And sometimes we just don't, like, it happened to me a lot when I was at Deloitte. You start to lose track of what good money is and stuff like, or what regular people, you know, what is okay, what you can feel proud about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I worked with this director. Oh, he was great at his job, but he was so annoying. Him and his wife. So as a director at Deloitte, he probably earned like what 121 between 120 and 150 in it. And his wife also had a job. I think maybe she earned like 60, 70K. Listen, you guys are doing good. Like, he would always say, oh my God, kids are, he had 2 kids. They went to like one of them went to private school, one of them was in nursery. Oh my God, kids are so expensive. We literally have no money. And I'll be like, are you sick? Like, you know, like when you like read the room, you're like, you earn like, one of the highest earning, like, it was just crazy, because when you get promoted, and he would tell us all the time, he was from a council estate. And he had worked his way up and stuff, but it's one of those, it's like a trap where your money increases and your lifestyle increases to match, and you feel like you never have enough money. Like, that's what happens. The more money you get, the more money you spend. The more money you get, the more money you spend, and then it puts pressure on you to
make more. Yeah, it's true.
And then that's where the kind of rat race mentality comes into it.
I also think it's important to know, I'm only speaking for the HR sector, but the higher up you go, the more work you're doing. And I feel like it gets to a certain stage where your salary is capped as an individual contributor.
If you're not in tech.
Okay, if you're not in tech. So yeah, I haven't gone into the tech world yet. But for example, if you're looking at 6 figures in the HR industry, it's going to come with a lot of work. It probably will come with extra skills that like people management and stuff like that. Whereas, for example, in tech, you could probably be an individual contributor on 6 figures, which means you can mind your own business, put your head down and just get on with it. But if you want to go into that sort of salary within HR, it does come with the extra work. So your work-life balance, cool, the money is there and it's great, but you need to be prepared that your work-life balance it's going to be off a little bit.
I agree. I agree with both, that the workload and also the tech, because that's the only place that I've seen where people earn 6 figures and so I would say, and also obviously contracting, because it's not real money. Like,
it's not real money.
It's not like, you're not really getting paid for the job that you're doing. You're getting paid for the flexibility and the risk. Do you get what I mean? So you could be a HR BP on 60K, and then you could get a day rate of £450 a day.
It's true.
Like
It's true.
it doesn't. It's not
doesn't add,
equivalent.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
You do the same thing.
and it's the same
Yeah.
job.
There's no
It's true.
difference in the work.
It's exactly the same job. So like when you get to a point where you can start doing that, obviously it's a bit more risky because it's not secure, but you know, you can get the money. But I definitely think that. And one thing where I am now, I actually had in my own business, the business I run by myself, I had someone that I was working with. She actually moved to a different country. She moved to Malawi to go and be with her parents. But I was actually kind of happy because I realized I don't want to manage people. So I've always enjoyed managing people.
Yeah.
But what I realized is I don't enjoy managing people. I enjoy coaching people. And I don't need to be your line manager to coach
do
you.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
And just the whole, like, for now anyway, for sure, I don't want to manage anybody.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I just realized, although that the feel good factor is nice when you see people progressing, when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's really
hard.
annoying.
So annoying.
And then also, like, it's harder to control. I can control what I do and my output.
Yeah.
It's harder to control your output. And it's just stress. I can't be bothered.
Are you ready to manage, boy?
So I've had managerial roles and I didn't mind them, but I think it's like what Lola said, it felt a bit more like coaching, and it was more from a sense of this is how I know the support that I probably felt I needed when I was growing up,
Growing up in
when I
you
was
were.
growing up in HR, and that's what I'm really eager and keen to provide to others coming through. But again, that doesn't make you a manager. That just makes you like a coach. I don't feel fancy managing more than like 2 people
Yeah,
at any one time.
I've managed teams of 6 and it is the ghetto. It's the ghetto.
I can imagine.
I'm the team I managed that was 6 people I loved it. It was great. But then now I felt in hindsight I was underpaid to do that work.
Yeah, probably.
Because managing 6 people, I know I was not on 6 figures, but to manage 6 people is like insane.
Yeah.
Well, even now when I see like there's some companies you look at the JD and it will be like 50 or even less, and it has managerial responsibility, and I think that's really rude. I got there was a role is that I know a recruiter at one of the London councils, and he sent me this role and he said, oh, do I know anybody who could be good for it? It's a recruiter role. It's at 55k, I think. It's managing a team of 8.
Oh, come on.
no.
And I said to him, I'm
That's
so
so cheeky.
sorry,
No.
but you can get this money as an individual contributor. You don't manage a team of 8,
Yeah.
and you work somewhere.
And
So
you'll be fine.
cheeky.
Like, but it's the councils are broke. Like, how can you how can we have good public anyway? Public service. How can we have good
another
public
episode.
services? How can we have good public services if we're not going to hire the best people because you're underpaying them?
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
It's true.
So the person responsible for all the recruitment that the council does and the services that we get is underpaid. What output do you think that
It's
council is
gonna
going
be
to put
just
together?
poor.
It's just mad. But yeah,
Would you do it, Velisa?
Manage.
Yeah. Or how do you feel about managing?
I've managed people before. I think I've spoken about it before, where one was amazing and the other one not so amazing.
yeah.
So that was difficult. But I feel like now I'm indifferent. But I do enjoy being an individual contributor because you still get to work with loads of different people. So yeah, I like chilling. I'm not gonna lie. When you have people
We
you're
know.
managing,
and
when you know you're managing, you can't
control
chill.
your time.
You can't.
Like,
Yeah.
there'll be
You can't.
days like I've actually said that my most focused time, if I could work from like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., that is when my brain does everything it needs. I've said it to you guys, isn't it? Like I'll be sending you guys stuff.
You
for
need
the
a night
pod.
shift.
Yeah,
HR.
go work at Amazon.
On call ER.
No, for real. They do. They got HR
Yeah, on
night
the
shift
phone.
team.
I know, but like that's when my brain does everything it needs to do. Like I don't even know why, but between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. That's when I'll get everything out. Like I'll have all the creativity. I'll be able to edit. I'll be able to write. I'll be able to do everything. But like that's why it's so important to manage my time, because sometimes during the day it's not my best time. So like I need to focus on my own productivity. I can't focus
Before
on
you
yours.
look after someone
And
else.
I have in the past, and it's been fine. But like, no, it's just
a lot.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. Productivity is something that when you have someone good that works for you, it's the best.
It is
Yeah.
amazing.
And it's just like your life is just easy.
Yeah.
But when you have someone bad that works, and I don't want to take the risk.
Yeah. No, I hear it.
It's awful.
So yeah, that's our stories into HR. So we do want to do a Q&A on the Instagram story. So if there's any questions that you have in general about getting into HR, in HR, or about anything you've heard today on the podcast, then please look out for the Q&A on Instagram so that we can answer your questions.